Hi, I'm Gary Gillen from the Wharton County Junior College Foundation, and today I have a great honor. I'm going to get to introduce you to the new president of Wharton County Junior College, Dr. Amanda Allen. Dr. Allen, thank you very much for joining us today for this.
Thank you for having me.
Well,
I'm excited.
You're here. We're glad you're here, and
Yeah.
we're excited too. And we wanted the opportunity to let people know who you are, why you're here,
Sure.
what your hopes and dreams are for the college. So let's just have a conversation today.
That sounds perfect.
What brought you to Wharton County Junior College? What educational background brought you?
I started my education off, my bachelor's degree through Texas A&M University. Absolutely had the best experience in college, but really a formative experience. Somewhere along the line, I think sophomore, junior year, I had taken a math class the previous year. Math instructor had approached me, hey, we have a supplemental instruction program. Would you mind running it next year for this class? You get paid a little money and you just teach students off hours, whatever we went over in lecture the day before. And just basically it's a tutoring service, but specifically for students in that one class. So I thought, sounds fun, make some money teaching math. There can't be anything more fun than that to me. So did that, and it was really through that I just, something clicked in terms of knowing that education was truly my calling. I knew from that one experience, I was gonna have to do something where I was working to teach students, form students, help them move from a place of not understanding to when you see that light bulb go off. I mean, there's no greater high than that. So that was truly, truly formative as far as setting my course. So after that, I was getting my bachelor's degree in biomedical science. My mom had definitely hoped I would go on to be a doctor, an MD doctor, the kind that can save lives, not the kind that read a lot of books. So that did not pan out. What I ended up doing was getting my teaching certificate, and I went into teaching high school chemistry and physics for the first 3 or 4 years after college. During that time, had wonderful experiences working with my students.
Where did you teach?
I taught in Bryan ISD, so I actually taught at their alternative education program. So these were students that, maybe had some difficulties going on. Either they were working full-time, they were already parents, so they needed a different kind of education. They needed a place where they could come. We had kind of flex schedules for these students so that if they did need to go to a job, they could get out early. If they needed to come in late because they were dropping their child off at daycare, they could do that. So we really worked flexibly with our students to make sure they could still come in and still complete that high school diploma. Really cool experience at that high school because in their senior year, there were many options for them to take accelerated courses. So throughout the year, you would have students that would have completed the outcomes for that course, and they were able to then just graduate, right? So throughout the year, anytime a student would complete that final course, they would graduate. We would all go out in the hallways. They would play the Eye of the Tiger from Rocky, and these students would make the rounds all the way through the school. Every other student out there just cheering, encouraging them. I can't tell you how many students came through with their 3-year-old in their arms, or, their grandparents would come and hand them flowers as they were walking through. It was the most incredible experience working with those students. In many ways reminds me of the students that we serve here. These are students that have things going on in their lives that we need to make sure, we're providing an education where they can still have their life, but complete some kind of credential. So there's a lot of tie back to that original experience I had with teaching that is here and that I love in terms of what we do for our students in our community. From that, I did really miss being at A&M, and an academic advising opportunity came open at the college. Applied for it, got it, spent a little over a year doing advising. Enjoyed that, but through getting back into higher education, saw all of the opportunity within the higher ed system as far as ways to just be more involved in truly creating the educational experience for a student. So as an advisor, you're really saying, okay, so here's the plan, and let's see how we get you stepwise through this plan. But seeing my boss, his boss, and the way they were actually developing the plans. They were having the conversations to say, okay, how do we make this plan work for students? What do we need to change? How do we make improvements? So it was through seeing those conversations happen that I really realized, okay, I want to see about kind of leveling up, getting more involved in truly making the educational experience for a student rather than just guiding them through something that had already been developed.
Do you feel like you touch a lot more students that way than you would in the classroom?
I do. It's one of those things where, you know, it is difficult because I will not lie to you. So, I mean, for a good year after leaving the classroom, probably weekly, I would have episodes where I really just got very down, would cry because I wasn't in a classroom with a student, again, seeing that light bulb go off. It was really hard making that transition. I actually thought, again, at the time, I would have more of an impact if I just went back to the classroom. And so that was where, you know, that year of advising, it was that, okay, do I go back into the classroom or do I take a different route? And again, it was through my mentor at the time, my boss at the time, that my perception of what I could do, the number of students I could truly help to transform their lives, I felt like I had the capacity to do that. And so I went in this direction, more of the administrative direction. I'll say shout out to him, Dr. Russ Graves, who worked at Texas A&M University. He was a former Air Force, I think captain, or I don't know all their ranks, but he was one of the first people that, he came into my office one day and he looks at me and he's like, you know, you could run this place, but if you want to run this place, you've got to get your doctorate. And literally the next day I signed up for a master's course, my first master's course.
Wow.
I submitted the application and started moving forward. I only say that to say, first off, I credit him so much for even putting the idea into my head, because really it wasn't in my head before that. It's not that I didn't think I was capable, it was just I hadn't thought about it. And so it was kind of this man that I truly admired that was so intelligent, so formative in everything that he was doing. The fact that he thought I could run this place, it was like, oh, okay, well then I better go do whatever he's telling me to do. So I love him and I thank him for much of what I've done since that time, because, you know, it was him that put that spark in my brain.
So he recognized a talent.
Yeah,
you didn't know
something
you had.
there. Yeah,
Well,
and it was really cool.
For those of us who don't have a master's, is master's a full-time student, or were you working and going to school at the same time? How did you manage that?
Yeah, so I was doing both, and I was really fortunate. I was in a program actually through the Lamar University that allowed me to do both. So these were short-term classes. The courses were, I believe we were on an 8-week at the time. And so they were synchronous online courses. So you would go 2 times a week at night. I mean, it would be at 7 p.m. You would get on with your instructor. They would do basically a traditional lecture almost. And then the rest of the time you were just working behind the scenes like you would with any other class, doing the homeworks, writing the papers, those kinds of things. So I was very fortunate that that option was available. I mean, even, 2 years prior, Lamar was doing a similar program, but you actually had to go to Beaumont every single Saturday. And that would have been something that would have been a little beyond my grasp at the time, just logistics-wise and money-wise. I mean, traveling to Beaumont, on a weekly basis would have been a lot to take on. So again, something really formative in terms of how I look at education and some things that we might want to do here at WCJC is, I mean, if it wasn't for those kinds of programs, I wouldn't have finished my master's or my doctorate. I had to be working full-time.
So you are proof
Absolutely.
for that student out there who says, I'd love to finish my degree or I'd like to get a certificate, but I'm working full-time and I've got family, I just can't do it. You're proof that you can.
You absolutely can. But it is also incumbent on institutions to make sure then that we're offering the opportunity for those students to do that. Because if that institution would have said, no, we're going to be completely traditional, we're going to have 16-week courses and they're only going to be offered 8 to 5 and you are going to have to be on campus, well then no, I wouldn't have been able to just say I'm quitting my job, I'm not doing, No, I was on my own, needing money, needing to go forward. Even more so with my doctorate. My doctorate, I was getting that. At the time, I was a single mom, like alone, no go visit dad on the weekends, like single mom, raising a 2-year-old when I started that doctoral program. There's no way. But again, that really forms my philosophy and my thoughts for the college as we move forward is, okay, how do we make those opportunities available to those students? Because our students are in that situation. They need to work. They have families to support, whether it's their children, whether it's their parents or grandparents. So we have to make sure we're making, it can't be accidental. It can't because it's convenient for one faculty member to teach at a certain time. It's got to be intentional. We have to make sure that we are meeting those needs that those, especially non-traditional students have. And yeah, I mean, I'm proof that it can work. I'm also proof that it's needed. During my doctoral program, there was a course. It was school law. And I was not meant to be a lawyer. I can tell you that. That one course proved that to me real quick. But I mean, I was 5 weeks into that course, an 8-week course. I think he was probably 3 at the time, 3-year-old, working full time, trying to get things done, had just moved to San Antonio, gotten a new job at the UT Health Science Center. It was tough. And I'll tell you this, if I would have had 11 more weeks of that class in front of me, there was a moment, I can still remember sitting on my bed in that moment. I would have quit. And I guarantee I wouldn't have ended up finishing, because as soon as you quit, it is so much easier to just keep going than it is to try and pick back up, dust back off, get back in. So I know life would have happened. I know that would have been the perfect excuse. No, it is just too much. I would have stopped. But the fact that I had 3 weeks left, okay, you can do anything for 3, it's not even a month. You can finish this school course in 3 weeks, and then you will be on to something else. So again, even just allowing students to persist, it's one of those things where we have to give them options. We have to give them ways that they can be successful, even in those moments where they don't know themselves if they can be. Give them that reason to just hang on that little bit longer and get through.
The world has changed so much since I was in school. I don't know how I would react to an online course.
Sure.
Because I'm used to sitting in a classroom and having an instructor and a lecturer, that sort of thing. So I'm going to ask you some questions a little later about the changes in education for people my age who are curious about it. But let's go on with your story.
Sure.
Now you've moved to San Antonio. You're working for UT Health.
Yes.
And where do you go from there?
Sure. So I was working for UT Health Science Center, their College of Medicine, working on accreditation and compliance. So all of that work, the great thing when you work in accreditation or institutional effectiveness is that you get an excuse to be nosy and ask questions and ask people, well, why are you doing this? And how are you doing that? And is there a way you can maybe restructure to do this a little better or faster, or that's going to impact a greater number of students? Because that was what accreditation is. It's looking at everything you do as a school and saying, okay, first off are we compliant with the bare minimum? But then taking it a step further, what are we doing on a regular basis to make sure that we're making improvements and that we're getting better for students? So it's one thing to check a box, and it's another thing to say, but yes, we're checking that box, but we're also thinking about the student experience. We're also thinking about how to be better stewards of financial resources. We're also thinking about how to make our employees' jobs easier for them so that they're able to spend more time directly connecting with students rather than maybe running a back-end process. So being in the accreditation world was just right up my alley, because it did give me the excuse to just go around and talk to people about everything that was going on in the school and really understand the inner workings. Like, how is everything functioning? How is each piece that may seem disparate when you're looking at it from the outside, how are those coming together, even if people don't always know that they're coming together or that they're impacting one another? So that experience that I had, actually both there and the A&M Health Science Center, working in accreditation was what then brought me to WCJC. So there was a position open for Vice President of Planning and Institutional Effectiveness. That position was geared to be the SAC-COC liaison for the school, so over our regional accreditation. So I thought, hey, let's apply. Let's see what they're doing. In researching the school, it really was attractive because I'd worked at A&M University, fantastic place to work. Worked at 2 health science centers, great places to work. Those health science centers, though, they're training, MDs, they're training DDSs, they're training students that are going to go on to be pharmacologists and, top medical researchers in neuroscience. Those students, yes, they needed people there to help them and work things through, but they were probably going to be successful, whether it was me in there or anybody else in there. Those students were going to be successful. They were, they've been in the top probably 1% of their class the entire way through school. They graduated the top, I'm sure, 10% of their college class. I'm sure they're all summa cum laudes and everything else. I mean, these are students that they're gonna make it. They're gonna be great. They're going off. And I really, I talked earlier, I regularly had moments thinking back to working directly in the classroom with the students that I really felt needed me, really needed me, because I was going to care, I was going to work for them, I was going to listen to them. They needed me. And I wanted to get back to that. I wanted to get back to the roots of making an impact in students' lives who may not just naturally be able to be successful, because there is a whole lot of things that they're managing, facing every single day. They need somebody who is thinking about them and thinking, okay, what can we do to make sure that we're doing our part to guarantee your success at this college? So that was what was particularly attractive to me about getting into the community college setting. And so once I had kind of set my sights on that, seeing this opportunity that married that piece, the really getting back into serving students who need that intentional, focused love, and working with accreditation. So it was kind of the best of both worlds, and was very fortunate to get the position and have been here since and have loved it more and more. Our faculty, our staff, our students, every single day that I've been here. And just excited for what's next. So,
well, that's exciting. The job that you are taking on now, however, is going to be a little different because now you have not only to worry about the student, but you have to worry about instructors,
right,
maintenance people, janitors, legal. You're gonna walk into a much different office. So could you perhaps describe for us a little bit about what your vision for Wharton County Junior College is? Because obviously you are going to be a different president than the last president, because everyone's different.
Yeah.
Are there things that you see coming at WCJC that our viewers would really be interested in hearing about?
Yeah, and I think there's so many ideas, and I'm really fortunate because people have been very open about all that they want to see moving forward. I think the really exciting thing about stepping into this role, as scary as it is some days, as overwhelming as it is some days, is just that there's still such enthusiasm for the college, both from our faculty and staff who already work here, but then from the community. I mean, I've just got such a wonderful outpouring of support from the community in terms of just people that are really excited to see where we can go and are going to be really supportive of that. So that's exciting, first and foremost. But I think there's a couple of key things as we're looking down the road in the next several years. One big piece is making sure that we're tying back into being that community college. I think we've had a very strong focus, especially in the time that I've been here and just what I've witnessed, on the students. And that is, of course, the core tenet of our mission. But our students are part of the community, and then the community is part of this college. And so making sure that we're really reestablishing those ties with the community that we're serving, making sure that they're seeing the value that the college brings to the economic standing of the community, the upward mobility of the folks that we're serving, all of that. So that's a really key focus for me, in particular in the first year. is really just tying into our roots in each of those communities we're serving, because we have a wide spread and we serve many different types of communities. So we've got, Matagorda, which is much more industrial. We've got right here, which is very rural. We've got Fort Bend, which is booming and busting. So making sure we're in those communities, understanding what they need from us, making sure they understand what we already provide to them and what we can maybe grow and develop. In particular, if we get some community support, if we get support from those industry leaders, there's no end, I think, to what we can do and, the value that we're going to add to those groups. So getting back in touch with that community piece, but specifically for the college, I think there's a lot just in terms of reimagining what the college looks like. I think we've been very traditional for a long time, and I don't ever want to lose those roots, because there is so much value in being at a smaller school where you have that, 18 students to 1 faculty ratio in the classroom, meaning that faculty member can learn each student's name and understand what that student specifically needs. Same thing with, all of our student support services. We have a very good ratio of students to support services so that, we really do know our students individually. So we don't ever want to lose that. But we also want to make sure that we are being intentional about serving all of our students, not just those that are making that traditional route from, okay, I was in high school and now I'm going to college, but all of the other folks who are out there that may see opportunities. Maybe they didn't have the ability to go straight out of high school, but now they are working or have a family. What are we intentionally providing for them? We need to start asking that question.
You bring up a great point, and could you describe for our viewers for just a moment,
Sure,
the types of students that we have at WCJC? Are they all headed to a 4-year college? What sort of students do we have here?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I do think in general, right, I think the idea that people have, especially for a community college, is, okay, these are students coming right out of high school. They're going to get those first 2 years out of the way, and then they're going to move on to that transfer institution. And we have a significant cadre of those students, right? So we are actually a very young college overall. Our average age is right at that 19 mark. It's about 75% of our students are on that transfer track. So that is not a small amount of the students that we're serving. Are those students that are coming to us straight out of Wharton High School, going to get a couple of years done here for a lower cost and right here close to home, where they can still maybe live at home, but then still get that college experience and then move on to UH, A&M, UT. Those are our top 3 transfer institutions. So there's a lot of value with that, both for the student and their family, because it is a significant cost savings, because it is close to home, because you are making that transition. You're coming out of a high school that maybe had a graduating class of 150 students. You might not want to go into a lecture hall that has room for 300 students right off the bat. That's jarring. That's overwhelming. It's overwhelming for students who come from 5A high schools, but definitely for many of the schools that we serve, having that ability to transition, get your feet wet, get used to college life before you have to walk into that kind of environment is really important. The other, primary chunk of our students, the other 25%, are those students that are here for the completion of a level 1, level 2 certificate, or that Associate of Applied Science degree. And those are going to be degrees or certificates that are terminal in nature, meaning you get those with the intent of, this is the credential that I am getting, and then I'm going into the workforce. I'm not thinking about getting a bachelor's degree. This is my final degree. So a large and actually growing population of our students are in those vocational programs, where they really are coming here with the intent of, okay, I need to go be certified to work in some kind of manufacturing field. I'm going to get that AAS in manufacturing technology, and I'm going to get out into the workforce, and they're going to make more than a living wage right off the bat. So a good chunk of those students, I think especially post-COVID, we saw a definite increase in the students that were pursuing those types of certificates or degrees. Many instances, it was students that were career changers. So it was the opportunity to say, okay, what I was doing before is not working for me. Let's get in, let's get skilled up, and let me get into a job that is going to pay me that wage that I need to be comfortable to really support my family. So that has been an increasing part of our population, and I only see that continuing to grow. Again, it comes down to finding ways to make sure we're structuring those programs so that those students that are career changers are able to complete those credentials. So having non-traditional class times, non-traditional schedules, because the majority of the students in those programs are working. And so we need to make sure that we are attentive to that and that we're being, again, intentional about serving their needs, because traditional education it's not going away. It won't ever go away. But the non-traditional student is becoming the traditional student. That is going to be the norm before too long. And you either adapt to that and say, great, then what you need is what we're going to provide, or you don't adapt to that. And we all know things that don't adapt tend not to do well. So it is going to be about, especially over the next 1 to 2 years, really getting in touch with those students and again with the communities so that we know, okay, how much of a draw is there if we do start having some of these courses that are offered at night or virtually or a hybrid, if we have weekend classes, making sure that we're serving that need that's out there.
So you have to form a partnership with the business community to determine the needs and then make sure the college is filling those needs?
Yeah, and that's a critical piece. It's extremely helpful. When we have an industry partner, it gives us several things. So first off, it gives us the need, it gives us the demand. If they're telling us, hey, I need 20 people a year coming out of this program, then we know, okay, that is a market right there. That is a program. So knowing that, but the other piece of that is knowing we can tell our students, okay, so if you go through this program, you have a job. We have that industry that you're going to tie directly into. The other piece is it just makes the curriculum stronger, right? So when we have an industry partner, many times they want to come in and help our faculty develop that curriculum so that they can say, okay, I know then that you have trained this student on the skills, the equipment that I have in my factory, industry building, whatever it might be. I know they're coming out with those skills, and when I hire them, I'm not going to have to train them again. You're going to have trained them for the actual job that they're going to be doing. So those ties with industry, it's just a win-win across the board. It makes our program better. It makes attracting students to the program better, and it definitely makes our industry better because they do have those skilled technicians that they know are going to be able to do the job. So industry is critical.
The student knows that they're going to have
a job. Absolutely. Which is critical. They're investing a significant amount in terms of time, in terms of money. We have to make that promise for them. We have to know that investment is going to be worth their time. Because again, I can just go back to, if you're a single mom and you're having to choose, okay, I didn't see my child all day because I was at work, and now I'm not going to see him again all night because I'm going to school. We have to guarantee her something. We have to guarantee her a better life for her and her kid. And if we're not doing that, then we're not upholding our part of the bargain with these students.
So what does Wharton County Junior College do? How do you prepare for that single mom, for example, when you're setting these programs up? How do you arrange it so that single mom is able to go back to college?
Right. So right now we do some, but that's where I think over the next couple of years in particular, we've got to do more. I think, again, many of our programs right now are more geared towards that traditional student. We have increased the amount of courses that we're offering either via online as an 8-week option. So they're kind of that shorter term, some other opportunities, but that is really a key focus. And that is something where, as we have surveyed students over the past several years, as we maybe hold focus groups, one big thing we're going to need to do over this next year, it is really about saying, okay, so what next? Like what how do we now take this traditional and make it work for that student? Because I believe that's some low-hanging fruit for us. I also think it's something that we just have to be, and I've used this word too many times now, so if you're doing a drinking game at home, you probably stop. But intentional about what we're doing and the student that we're truly serving.
So would you say that this move toward greater concern for, I think the word that I've heard used here at the campus is the adult learner, not suggesting that high school students who are heading off to a four-year college are not adults, but the person who already has a job, has a family, and they're now trying to better their career.
Correct.
Is what you're seeing in the future true of the entire junior college system or just Wharton County Junior College?
So overall, if we're looking at definitely the state's goals for community colleges, that is a statewide goal, is to really hit that 25 to 34 population very hard over the next 10 years, and then the 35 and up crowd as well. But yeah, that group, that 25 to 34, is where a lot of resources across the state are headed. As we've revised our formula funding model, the way we get state appropriations, there are kind of special weights associated with that adult learner. So it's the state acknowledging that there are many folks out there right now who were not able to make that transition just from high school to college. And so, hey, let's go revisit those students and see, is there some way to get them a credential, a diploma, and get them skilled up so that they can get into the workforce in some different capacity, increasing their earnings and those kinds of things. So it is a statewide movement, but specifically, again, as we're looking at our students and what they've gravitated towards since we've been in this post-COVID world, that's just the way our students are definitely going, is more into that vocational realm. It is more into the just get me the upskill, trades that I need, so I can get back into the workforce, making some money without having to necessarily go through the actual university system.
And they would come out of this with a certificate and not the debt that a four-year student might graduate with.
Right.
So, and they probably don't have the finances for the great debt because of the family and making a house payment or a car payment and raising the children and that sort of thing. So what sorts of career paths do we educate for at Wharton County Junior College?
Sure. So many. I mean, I really truly believe that any path you ultimately want to take, you can get at least your start here. I truly believe that. Obviously, if you're wanting to transfer to a university, we have a very strong associates program that allows you to get core complete and transfer to any university in the state. We have the highest transfer rate in the Gulf Coast, and that's something we're extremely proud of. So we do know when those students are coming to us telling us that is the route they want to take, we know we can tell them you're going to be successful. I mean, you are going to get into that four-year institution you want. There's one other school in the state that has a better transfer rate than us. It's Blinn. They have that tie-in directly to Texas A&M, so they do beat us on the transfer rate, but just barely. And one day we will beat them. But I think the thing that's really cool about here, and not taking anything away from Blinn, it is a great school, but our students are transferring all over the state. So when we have that transfer rate that we're talking about, I mean, it is that promise to that student. Anywhere you want to go, you can go. We are transferring students all over. So you are not limited. It is not, this is your set pipeline. You have to go this direction. It really is. I mean, any opportunity you want, you can pursue that. You're going to get into that 4-year. But specifically on careers that you could get right after coming to WCJC. Of course, down in Bay City, we have a lot of great industrial programs. We've got a nuclear technology program. Our nuclear technology program, we're very fortunate. We got some money from the state this most recent session. We're going to be expanding that program significantly, working in partnership with Texas A&M University to do some really cool things there. But Our program is known across the state. Governor Abbott put out a report on nuclear energy, and of the 3 schools named, it was UT, Texas A&M, and Wharton County Junior College. So that's no small feat. That's huge. But we have manufacturing technology, process technology. So those programs, again, talking back to the industry ties, we developed those with industry. STP came in and told us what they needed. Chevron Phillips has come in and told us what they need. So those students, as they're working toward that credential, they know. They know what job they're going into. They know that they're going to get that job. They're going to go on and do whatever it is that they want and have, again, more than that living wage. On some of our other campuses, we have a great police academy. They are just on a roll. They go. Man, Grady Smith, who runs that program, phenomenal. And he just has those students in and going through that program. The success rate with that and the placement rate is just fantastic. So anybody interested in law enforcement, WCJC is a great opportunity for that. Electronics technology. We have tie-ins with the FBI. We have students that go and work at the FBI from our electronics technology course. I mean, how cool is that? On a regular basis. I mean, it's not a one-off thing. So really cool opportunities. Of course, one of the things that we're best known for and extremely proud of are our allied health programs. So we have a huge EMS team that is training paramedics. They're training the EMTs. The exciting thing about that program is that is a true progression. So you can come in and get that level 1 and go out and be working. And while you're working, we make sure that you're able to go on towards that level 2 and then ultimately that associate's degree. That program, to me, is one of the models that we're going to be looking at for sure as we kind of reinvent ourselves and reinvent some of our programs and how we're working with our students, because they have been very strategic in how they are offering those classes, how they're working with partners in various fire departments across the cities, and just other kind of healthcare systems to make sure that they're structuring the training in a way that these students can work and train and just keep on rising up that ladder in terms of their career. Of course, we have our nursing program, which is just state of the art in everything that those students are doing. If anybody has not been out to the Johnson building, please come out for a tour sometime. Any of us will be happy to show you around. Those students are training on mannequins that are beyond realistic. I mean, they're just the most amazing things you've ever seen or held or touched. So the training that those students are receiving in that nursing program, I mean, we have people from Methodist, Memorial, St. Luke's all tell us that, our nurses are coming out and they're the most skilled, they're the most highly trained, they're the most ready for that actual hospital environment, which is just a testament to the training that they're receiving in those programs. It really is some amazing stuff. I worked at 2 health science centers and we had nothing close to the simulation lab that we have here at WCJC. Nothing close. And I mean, those schools are tied to flagship universities. And still, what we can provide the students in terms of realism, in terms of simulation experience, it is a cut above. It is beyond cool. It's one of those things where you just kind of go, okay, I'm just going to stop everything and I'm just going to go take this program just because I want to see. It is amazing what we have for those students. So yeah, I really believe there's something for everyone. You come in, you try something out, you talk to one of our advisors or these program directors. These program directors know and love their programs, and anybody that wants to know anything about the programs, they're going to take them in, they're going to walk them around, they're going to show them exactly what they're doing, they're going to let them put hands on equipment. So before you make that commitment or before you commit the funds or the time, you can have a good idea, is this a route I really want to take? And I think that's critical as you're making an important decision like what you want to do with the rest of your life. Right. So yeah.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. If a student or a parent has a student who is leaving high school, thinks they want to go to a 4-year college, Wharton County Junior College can be that interim step between high school and the 300 people in the auditorium. what should that parent or that student do? Should they call the college? Should they go visit the college? What step would you recommend they take to get to know WCJC and the opportunities it offers?
Yeah, I think either or, honestly. So you can absolutely call up here. We have a fantastic recruitment team that if you want to make advanced plans, give us a call. They're going to set up a time for you to come up, whether it's for an individual tour, whether it's for a group tour, whatever you're most comfortable with. If you wanted to look at a specific program, those recruiters will make sure you get connected with that actual program director or incorporate it as part of the tour while you're here on campus. But giving a call is probably the best way, just because you can really get your experience specialized to what you want before you even get here. But if you're around, come on campus. I mean, like, there's no reason not to just swing by. If you're going to Sugar Land, make sure you pay for parking when you park. But other than that, come on in and we've got recruiters on site. We've got just various frontline student support service folks that really anyone you come in contact with, if you say, hey, I'm just wanting to find out more about the college, honestly, anybody you ask is going to help you out, but they'll for sure at least then point you to somebody who may be able to give you that little more in-depth dive into specifically what you're interested in. But I would encourage anyone from any location to actually go onto each of the campuses, because each of our campuses has a really unique feel, completely different. You know, each one is its own little ecosystem. The great thing is it's all WCJC, so you are going to get individualized attention, and you're going to get people who really truly just care about you and love you from the second you come in. But they're all a different feel. And so, you know, if you go onto one campus and you're not 100% sure if that's the right feel for you, go to one of the other campuses, because each one is its own special place. And you may feel more at home here on the Warren campus, where it's kind of more of that traditional collegiate feel. You have the sprawling campus and the many buildings. You may feel more comfortable on the Sugar Land campus, where we are in partnership with UH, and so it has a little bit more of that university feel. Bay City, it is, again, those industry programs, and so it's a hub, it's hopping. So each one has something different to offer. So I think that's important too. When you're wanting to explore, you know, it's not like one of those neighborhoods where you go into a model home and you know, okay, well then if I buy the home down the street, it's going to be the same thing, great. It's not. Each one is its own really kind of cool, special place. And so you're probably going to find one of them that you go, yeah, this is the vibe I'm looking for. This is where I feel most comfortable. Or, you know, this is where I first met Deborah, and she was so helpful that I want to walk in every day and see her. So yeah, just come see us. It doesn't matter how you get here. It doesn't matter if you call first. Just come see us, because we're here.
Well, I don't want to end this conversation without talking about one other thing.
Sure.
And I don't know that it's well known.
Okay.
When you go to a large college, you've got lots of opportunities to be involved in extracurricular activities, not just going to class.
Sure.
But when you go to a junior college, do you have those same opportunities?
You do, and I think you're right. I don't think it's as well known. And we do a lot here, fortunately, with trying to get the word out to our students. We have a fantastic dean of students who, she has a weekly email that goes out to students that lets them know everything that's going on any of our campuses. And again, whether that's events in the library, maybe they're doing a special kind of research seminar or workshop, or whether it's student clubs that are going on. But we have a great group of clubs. All of our clubs are run by faculty, and so it's kind of up to them to find something that they have a special passion for or a special interest in. They set up the meetings, they get our students involved. Just fun things, like we've got a tabletop history club where they go in and kind of reenact different things that happened throughout history, whether it's a battle or something else. Our commencement speaker last year actually mentioned the tabletop history club during her commencement speech. I mean, she, you know, was that involved in it, and she was going to transfer to Texas State and plan to start one there. So, you know, really cool opportunities. If you have an interest in something, there's probably something there for you. We've got a club that crochets. We've got a club that gets together and walks. I mean, just really anything. So there are many opportunities for you to get connected, find something you're interested in, find other people that are interested in that, and build those connections.
You've got kind of a well-known baseball team,
Absolutely.
rodeo team.
That's right where I was about to go next
okay.
was,
Okay.
yeah. The really cool thing, though, is that we have athletics still, and not every community college does. So, yeah, we've got, our pioneers, all of our pioneers. So we've got our baseball team, fantastic team. They went to regionals last year. It was in Brenham. I traveled there right after graduation. It was a long day, but man, it was extremely exciting for those guys getting that far. We have a fantastic rodeo team that make nationals. Somebody goes to nationals pretty much every year for as long as I can remember, way before I've ever been here. They go up to Wyoming every year for the national competitions. We had someone that was the national champion in roping 2 years ago, and we had a reserve national champion last year. So some fantastic students coming out of there. We've got a volleyball team that's actually on campus right now doing two-a-days. So they're already back and getting geared up for fall. So yeah, I mean, if you have the chance, definitely come out to one of our games, one of our matches, because I'll say this, and I know, it's kind of one of those things I probably ought to keep secret, but I was not a fan of baseball, at all before coming to this college. I just didn't get it. I didn't. And I know you're not supposed to say that because everybody here is obsessed with the Astros, obsessed. It's something. But I just wasn't. I was always a college football girl, right? So that's where you're going to see me on a Saturday is watching college football. But man, coming out, we've got this fantastic facility. When you come out and watch your guys out there on the field, it is so exciting. And now, I mean, my 3-year-old, she is going to be a baseball fanatic. She is probably going to marry a baseball player. She loves her Pioneers. So it's just a good time. And, whether you're a student or whether you're a community member, it's a fantastic time to just come out and cheer on your local team. It's fun, and it will get you into that Pioneer spirit for sure when you come out and see our guys. So
That's exciting.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go to a 4-year college to be able to participate in
No, to
band
cheer on
or
your
choir
team.
or drama
No.
or anything else.
Yeah, we've got a fantastic fine arts program. Any opportunity you want, really, truly. I mean, that's where we kind of started this was anything you want to do, you probably have the opportunity to do it just right here. So that's why, come on campus. If you see something going on, if you see that we've got a play, come on out. It's free. Bring the whole family. Use it as a date night. I mean, talk about great date night, But just come on campus and see all there is, because they're really, truly, if you have an interest in something, we probably have something that can scratch that itch. So just come out, visit us.
And you're really part of the community, and you invite the community to be part of WCJC.
Absolutely. We love our community. We are a community college. I mean, that is integral to who we are. We do not exist without our community.
Well, I know you have so much going on in your world right now, but I didn't want to end this without asking you if there's anything that you would like to say to the community that I have failed to ask you during this interview that you want to pass on to our viewers before we end this and let you go back to work.
Sure. Well, first and foremost, just thank you to our community. You are the reason we exist, and we hope that, you feel the value and just the overwhelming love that we have for you, our community. If there's any ideas you have, if there's any thoughts you have on how WCJC can tie better into the community, please don't ever hesitate. Reach out to me, reach out to any one of our team, because we do exist to serve this community. I mean, that is the only reason we are here, is to serve this community, to build our community, and to really just be that linchpin as an employer, as a contributor, and then, of course, as an educator to the community that we serve. So we want you out here. Come see us, come talk to us, and we're just here for you. So
I would like to end with a little commercial for the Wharton County Junior College Foundation.
absolutely.
And let me ask you this question to lead me into this
Sure.
ending. These students, even though Wharton County Junior College is much more affordable than a 4-year college, and it's close to home, which makes it a more affordable venture.
Right.
These students still have financial needs.
Yeah.
And our foundation is here to help with those financial needs. So could you say something about the scholarships that the foundation is able to provide and what benefit that is to the students?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the support that the foundation provides is critical to everything we're doing. And we're so grateful to have a foundation that truly, truly cares about the mission of our college and truly cares about our students. But yeah, as affordable an option as WCJC is, we are serving students who we've talked about have a lot of other things going on in life. And having additional financial resources beyond just traditional financial aid, beyond traditional Pell, things like scholarships through the foundation, things like emergency aid that our foundation has been so wonderful in providing for those students who just have an emergency pop up, their car breaks down, and they contact us saying, I'm not going to be able to come to class because I don't have a vehicle to get there. I'm going to have to pick up an extra shift at work, and so I've got to drop. Having that emergency aid fund where we say, you know what, we're going to help you out with getting that car fixed so that you don't have to drop out of class, so that you don't have to pick up that extra shift. You can get here and learn your lessons like you're supposed to. That is critical because no matter what amount of support we can provide to our students, there is always going to be more need there, always. And so the scholarships provided, the aid provided, it's ensuring that those students who are most at risk of not being able to complete have that additional safety net. And those are the ones we're here to serve more than anybody, I would say. So we're grateful for all of the support that the foundation has provided. And I'm just looking forward to even building on that more and building the partnership with you guys, because you've already been so fantastic with me. And I just look forward to everything we're going to do together. So.
Well, I'm just excited that we're able to help because you're changing lives every day,
Yeah.
you and your staff.
Yeah.
And if we can be that thing that helps somebody over that hump and gets an education and betters their life or their family's life, then we've all succeeded, and that's
Absolutely.
a great thing. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
I know that you have a huge job ahead of you, and I thank you for the time and introducing yourself to the community, and I hope that the community will come and see you and
Please do.
see the colleges. All the campuses are wonderful,
Yeah.
and you can contact the Wharton County Junior College through their website, or you can contact the Wharton County Junior College Foundation, and we'll be glad to direct you as well.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Have a great day.
You too.